Hello again, Tenno, and welcome back to another episode of Frame of Lore. I believe we're on episode 3 now, and I do hope you guys are enjoying the content. Today's video will be on the greedy merchant faction known as the Corpus. As usual, we'll take a look into who they are and what they do, and what impact they have on the Origin system. Quick spoiler warning, as usual, as this will contain spoilers for the game. So, consider yourself warned, and let's get into today's video. The Corpus, or the Taxmen, as Solaris United call them, are essentially a merchant cult. They scavenge for Orokin technology, such as Warframes or even sentient technology, and then sell that off to the highest bidder. They are known for their greed and for seeing everything they claim as their property. Should a Warframe be captured, they are normally dissected and used for their own inventions, with the remains then being sold to whoever will pay the most. The Corpus were founded by Parvos Granum, who began his life as a humble farmer during the Orokin era. He grew to despise his golden masters, and believed that anyone should be able to earn profit and fortune, regardless of one's social status. Granum decided to steal from the Orokin in an effort to forge his own path and gain wealth and profit for himself. He succeeded in this attempt, and began to loan his newfound wealth to others. Each time he did so, he gained a new associate to spread his philosophy of the evils of contentment and idleness, as well as the gift of desire. He essentially had a pyramid scheme that convinced his fellow farmers to follow his doctrine. Parvos then went on to erect the city of Corposium, where anyone could apply to make their own wealth, regardless of social standing. Granum then founded the board of Corpus directors, with him as the leader of the Corpus faction. At first, things were fine with the Orokin. They seemed to accept the Corpus, and even loaned Parvos the Warframe Protea as a bodyguard. Though this would not always last. The Orokin grew distrustful of the Corpus, and Granum only stoked the fire of this conflict, which, in the end, led to a Warframe assault team being sent to his laboratory, where his Archimedeans were developing Spectre technology. Granum, it seemed, had anticipated this course of action, and had planted a warhead in the lab, which he detonated, destroying both the lab and the assault team. Granum's motives for this conflict still remain unclear, though the Orokin condemned the Corpus as a result. The biggest issue Parvos would come across, however, was from his own board of directors. They grew jealous of him and wanted power for themselves. So, they sent assassins to sabotage his ship's void drive. This caused his ship to be lost, and everyone believed that the founder was gone for good. Now, transitioning to the present day of the Origin system, we can see that the Corpus are quite different from the original vision set out by Granum. They lack any real leadership, and the most influential members have grown lazy, relying instead on the manual labour of others. They brainwash their crewmen at birth to worship profit and money. They also are made to see Parvos as an almost mythical figure. They are made to wear helmets that essentially erase any individuality, whilst distorting their voices so they all sound alike. The Corpus do seem to share some things in common with the Grineer, mostly their use of ambush tactics, though the Corpus tend to use a lot of robotics and high-tech weaponry. One of the main robots used by the Corpus are the mowers. They are essentially turrets on legs that close the distance to a target whilst firing its plasma guns or high-power railguns. The Corpus have also managed to merge sentient technology with their own. They've managed to recreate the sentient's adaptive shielding, as well as fusing some of their own crewmen with sentient tech. Corpus weaponry is a lot more advanced than that of the Grineer. Their weapons can range from simple stun rods to energy rifles. They are known for combining economy, market variety, and advanced technology to make the best weapons available. The weapons the Corpus designed for selling are usually low in quality and are pretty cheap to make. They keep the more powerful weapons for themselves. We mentioned the Corpus board of directors briefly before, but let's look into what they do. The board run many different guilds that all combine to provide the faction with what it needs. You have Luxor, which is the prime manufacturer of Corpus weaponry and equipment. B-Cloud is responsible for their AI. Chiltot is a minor producer of their vault doors. Fortunate Dawn are responsible for the software and hardware of security systems. Oklu are a database management company that handles information, and Anyo Corp are the corporation owned by Nef Anyo that represent his scientific development. Whilst we are talking about Nef Anyo, let's dive into who he is. Nef is a narcissistic and lazy person who only ever uses others for his own gain. He also claims to be the son of Parvos Granum. He holds a seat on the board of directors and claims that the Void chose him as its prophet. He is the self-proclaimed prophet of profit. It is extremely likely that these claims are false. He's a man only motivated by greed and does anything he can to remove any threat to his position on the board. He's the true embodiment of what the Corpus have become. Whilst Neff attempts to rule and use people for his own gain, Solaris United fight to stop him. They're a rebel group of Solaris workers who want to liberate their fellow unhappy labourers that work under Anya. Another main member of the Corpus board the players will meet is Alad V. He is the man who just keeps coming back no matter what we do to him. He originally created the Zanuka project, which would utilise Warframe components, though that failure saw him removed from the board of directors. He later schemed with the Infested, the Tenno, and even the Sentients to keep himself alive, whilst on the run from the Stalker's acolytes and his former Corpus allies. Alad would later return to the Corpus and work on Jupiter. This would be where he works on his Amalgam project, the fusing of Corpus and sentient technology. The Corpus are a real threat to the Origin system, with its greedy leaders vying for any profit they can make from the backs of others, to the high-tech weaponry they bring onto the battlefield. Not to mention the re-emergence of the once-thought lost leader, Parvos Granum, bringing with him the Sisters of Parvos, a powerful enemy for the Tenno that, just like Kuvalich's, can only be vanquished with the Parazon. This faction should not be underestimated. That is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this information on the Corpus and what they are like as a faction. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. But just the fact you've watched this video already means a lot to me. Stay safe out there, Tenno, and I'll see you all in the next one.